it's another lovely time on our Love Code with Maisie, and it promises to be really beautiful today. All right. I'm going to have my friend, guest coach here with me on the session, and together we're going to be answering questions. All right. So last week, very quickly, we had our dear coach Abibo with us, and he shared some things. We closed the series on husband and wife material last week, and we talked about becoming a person of value. Okay, now for the past 3 weeks, we've been talking about husband and wife material. Okay, and I mean, it was just such a beautiful time. I featured a number of my friends here on the live, and I mean, it was a good one. All right, so if you have questions, today is for question and answers. If you have questions, please just drop them in the comment section. All right, I'm only going to be bringing live our guest facilitator or my my friend, my guy. All right, he's all I'm going to be bringing live because we're going to be answering the questions together. All right, but like I said, I want to do a very quick recap of the things he shared with us last week. He talked about, in becoming a person of value. He looked at 7 areas that are very important for you to develop. And he said first was spiritual development. Okay, that cannot be overemphasized. The next was mental and emotional development. All right. And then the third one was physical development. Okay. The fourth was relational development. The fifth was around areas of your career and profession. Okay. Professional development. The sixth was in financial intelligence, and the seventh was family. Okay. So I'm not explaining them because I mean, the recorded version is there. So please feel free to go here on our handle after this session and glean from the material. All right, just listen to it. He said a lot of fantastic things, a lot of things that will get you thinking. Some people said tables were being shattered, in that session. It was a powerful one. I want to really encourage you to please go back and watch it, and you would love it. All right, so today we're going to take questions. A number of questions came in. We have some of them which we're going to deal. All right, but if you have yours, feel free to drop them also in the comment section, and we'll take them as we go on. So right now I'm going to bring in my dear friend and brother, Coach Abibo, and he will be joining us right now. All right, to bring you guys on in the live, but if you have a question, please just drop it there in the comments, and we'll take it from there. Okay.
Hey, bro.
Yes, brother. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Excellent. Excellent.
Okay.
All right. So, it's so great to see you again. Last week was fired up.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you. All right. So, some questions came in the course of the week, and what I do in this question and answer session is that I take those questions that are coming through the month. So now I'll read them out. I mean, me and you will be speaking to them, but I mean, I'll give it first. We'll speak more to it. Okay, so the first question goes like this. Someone says, my marriage is just 2 months old, but we have lost the spark. It feels like we're just roommates. We're tired of each other. And sometimes I wonder if he used jazz on me to make me marry him, because I don't see the attraction anymore. All right. What do you have to say to this person? How can the marriage come back alive? I mean, because that's what I was saying.
You lost spark. Go and look for it. The thing is, marriage is intentional living. Marriage is intentional.
Yeah.
No marriage works by getting married. Married works from being single. Your dating process is like the 20% of what you invest that helps the 80% of your marriage work. A lot of times people ask such questions. I said, how long did you date? One question. How well did you date? Long dating is not a qualification for quality marriage. How well did you date? What questions did you ask? How well did you know each other? What were your beliefs? What were your values? What were your experiences? Did you see the things that you really felt will help your marriage or hurt your marriage? What did you do about them? Did you take premarital counsels and mentorship? Who counseled you? Did you submit your relationship and marriage to people who can become supportive and marriage partners? These are questions I always ask people, because sometimes we just bring it to, oh, the spark left. Marriage is not about sparks. In fact, I can tell you, after wedding, many times, you don't feel spark. Spark is an emotion. So you don't marry by emotion. You marry by intentional knowledge and skills. So when the spark is over, what do you do? And that's why, were you guys friends? The way you're saying, maybe the person is saying, maybe you used juju. I don't know how long you guys dated. I don't know what you did. You know, when you say juju, you know, I like getting to know what experiences it was. You know, in our field, we don't just jump in to give a total answer, but we can just play around. But you know, these are things, you know, how far, where did you meet? Why is the spark no longer going on? What do you think is the challenge? Have you talked with the person about it? What did this person say? You know, who helped you out when you were preparing for marriage? What were the things you saw? Because the truth is, some people also don't understand personality when it comes to relationship and marriage. And because of that, they expect the other person to behave the way they want to behave to the person. Meanwhile, there were no prior communication. There was no follow-up on that. And then, you know, let me give a little story. Okay, go ahead before I give a little story.
In fact, please remember that story. We'll come back to it. You know, what you're saying now reminds me of the fact that there are many people who don't seek counseling or training until there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so you tell people to seek training on relationship, and they're like, no problem, I'm just fine. I know what I'm doing. Everything is okay. But then, when things start going wrong, they start seeking for help. What do you have to say to this kind of people?
When you don't wait, like we say, you don't wait till the tree is no longer bearing fruit. You see, the truth is, after my wedding, I'm 3 months married. We have done 9 books on marriage. Yesterday, I went to the market, the book market, to buy 15 books on marriage and relationship. It is not first about teaching people. It's about making marriage work. It's an intentional living. You can't live outside your marriage. Your marriage is a part of your life. That's why they said before, you have to think well, open your eyes before you jump into it. So the thing is, look, you can't outplay the necessities. Marriage counseling, mentorship, coaching, training. You can't. For those of you that are single before married now, listen. You know, I did FSC. That's where I met Coach Meze. I did not do it because I want to teach people. I did it because I want to know the right thing to marry. I did TIMFA. I've done about 5 professional courses on marriage and relationship. I bought books. I studied. I also allowed the person who was with me, who were dating, to study, because it's not a one-sided thing. Both of us studied. Yes, she may not have had the speed that I have, but we came to understanding some things. At least 90% of things we understood. But you know, the thing is, after our wedding, we had a lot of disagreements because we had been apart for a while. And marriage opens your eye to things that you never knew. This thing. And look, because of some things I've established, some principles, some, codes, a lot of the values, vision, we began to, even when we were having disagreement, heated disagreement. For instance, we told ourselves, no disagreement will exceed 2 minutes. The next thing was, I was the one that was apologizing, not because I was weak or she was weak, but because I know and understand why I have to apologize first before we continue in a better conversation. Because if everybody wants to claim right, sometimes being right is being destructive. I'm telling you the truth. So I am saying that we began to learn ourselves. We began to understand ourselves. We never had spark at the beginning. It's even now we're having spark because we did not start with spark. We started with something that, I was expecting so many things to happen in a hurry. Another mistake. You see, you're expecting too many things to happen in a hurry. You're not seeing it and you're giving up. It means you did not learn the culture of the fruit of the Spirit and the gift of the Spirit. So please, if we want to interact with you on this, we need to find out where it was. I'm sure I was able to respond to some of the things, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Please go ahead with that story.
Okay, those are part of the stories I wanted to share. Like, after I expected too much. Oh, let's start now. Let's do this. Oh, I'm doing teenage. I'm into relationship. Oh, yeah, enter. Meanwhile, she was not cutting for it like that. I was impatient. So I was like, you're not trying. Don't you know that I'm a relationship consultant? Don't you know I'm a parenting agent? I said, before now, I used to tell you, you used to see me do it. Why is it that now we're married? My brother, I was just saying and nagging. I was spoiling my marriage. She was becoming so good. She had to call one of our mentors. That's very important because in our relationship and marriage, we said, look, when it has gone this far, when it's looking like he's seriously choking you, look, tell me, I'm going to call this person because we're accountable to people. And she called us and sat us down and then x-rayed everything. Yes, you will say, but I'm in relationship, this thing. Why didn't I know everything? Excuse me, doctor also need a doctor to take care of him. And then the person went, and I was trying to claim some things. I was trying to claim. When I got back, the Holy Spirit said, oh boy, relax. Go back to study your life. And I saw that, it's me that made the mistake. Not that what I was expecting was wrong. But premature ejaculation does not produce twin or effective children. So this was that thing of the land. So I said, hey, guy, calm down, stay long in this thing. So that both of you can mature and then enjoy it before you know it. And now look, it's 3 months. The second month, I noticed that, we do once in a month some things together. And I'm enjoying it. All right, so when you're looking at what is spark? Is it the light that you want to on? Every spark, there are times that the spark finish. Now when you do birthday, as a spark, in the off. It's not the spark that makes the birthday. Spark is just an extra touch. The foundation is not the cake. No. Those things are just the extra touch. You need the foundations and the core. And I'm sure Messier has something to say about that.
Thank you so much, my brother. In fact, you did justice to this. Yeah, it's about the foundations. Someone commented that it echoes when I'm speaking. I don't know how to help that. I hope we can just manage it. Okay. So it's about the foundations, really, and expectations. You see, because like you rightly said, if you went through proper training for marriage, you discover that marriage is not about feelings. Many times there will be no time at all. You don't regulate your life by how you feel. You live by principle. So when God said the man should love the woman, it is not love her if she behaves in a particular way. No, it is love her as Christ loved the church. Same thing when he told the woman to submit. He didn't say submit if your husband is a good man. Just submit to your own husband and unto the Lord. You see, so that foundation is very key. And I would like to just leave it there. For that person who is looking for the spark, okay, one thing I'll say is reach out to any of us, any of them counselor, and then let them offer solutions. I think it's really okay.
It's safer. So that you can open up everything, so it becomes very intentional. Like let me also expectation that lacks principle will always cause conflict. Yes. When there are no core principles. And the truth is, the expectation of love will be challenged. So I expect you to do this thing. Then you did not do it. Love will prove itself there to be patient and to speak kindly with you while you are learning to do what I expect you to do. Let me stop there.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me take the next question. This one was from our session about not my spec. And what I said, one of the things I said, let me just read the question. The person said, you mentioned in the session about not my spec that many people don't know what their real spec is. For me, I know what I want in a lady. And if she doesn't tick those boxes, I cannot consider her for marriage. Are you saying that I don't know what I want, or is there anything wrong with that? Did you get the question? What do you have to say about people who say who have
to start, because you were the one that had that conversation first. I could just add.
Excellent. Okay, so one thing we said was that people come up with these specs, you know, based on so many things that are not principle based. So we gave some examples. Perhaps from childhood, you used to read certain erotic novels. You saw the description of what love looked like, in quote, love, you know, looked like in those novels. You saw how the guy was described, all right? And then you just felt like, oh, this kind of man is ideal, or this kind of lady is ideal, all right? And then you proceeded to the movies, and every time the love themes are talked about in the movies, you see the kind of people they present, the kind of build, the kind of shape, you know, and you begin to imagine that this is what, you know, this is what my spec is, or this is the kind of person I like. Or perhaps your favorite character in the movie, you begin to imagine the person you should marry should look like that character. Or perhaps your pastor in church. You know, I mean, so you just look for certain figures that you admire, and you think that the person you're going to marry has to look like that person. Now, what we're saying is, you need to take time beyond the external qualities to pay attention to internal values. All right, you need to look beyond the outside. You want to ask what this person's values are. You need to check if this person is in sync with your vision and your plans. You need to check if both of you are facing the same direction or opposite directions. You see, so when you go about strongly sticking to what you call your specifications, at the end of the day, you might be trying to live out your life based on specs that have been suggested to you from outside, not even what exactly you really want. You see, so the movie, the environment, and all of those things happen to your thinking that this is the kind of person you want. And then guess what? You will meet somebody who will be fantastic, but because externally they don't look like that image you have in mind, you say, this one is not my spec. You see, so what we're just saying about the spec thing was, beyond your external qualities, tall, dark, and handsome, or for the guy, figure 8, light skin, this, front and back, boobs, and low and buttocks. Beyond all of that, what are the qualities you see in this person that resonate with your values and your vision of life? If you have that, then you could be fine. But if it's just external things you're looking at, then you'll most likely be in trouble. So say something about it. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say mental immaturity can be a disadvantage for effective relationship. Like you said, the people you saw, the kind of things you saw. Okay, let me practically say, you know, I was exposed to pornography. I shared my story with a lot of people. And then I used to have what I call spec. But I realized that it was defined by pornography and then my fornication mates. I had to unlearn such, you know, it's a psychological principle. I have to deal with that. It took me time to find out the uniqueness of people. Once I see that you don't have that shape, and I, first of all, those things now decided my decision. It formed my decision for relationship. So my spec was shape driven. When I mean shape, external factors driven. It was driven by romantic appearance. So because she looks like a girl that was sweet on bed when we were fornicating, it means she's going to be a good one. So my relationship basis was, this person is going to be good on bed. And bedmatism is not the proof of a quality relationship. If not, I would have married someone who was good on bed. Yeah, being frank with you. Being frank with you. You know, so the thing I used to say is, so I got to a point where another thing was being charismatic. Oh, she was, anytime we go for programs, man of God, before I preach and she sings, people just feel that, you know, I just feel, and then I was like, oh, let's start. But bro, by the time my internal reality showed up, I realized that I had spent 10 months of my life only to be where I should not be. It was not about fornication. It's only thing. I just knew that I would struggle. I will struggle with everything. So just like he had, look, what defines your spec? Sometimes your ignorance is what pushed you to say this is spec or this is not spec. What values do you, what belief system? And there was a time my friend said he cannot marry a lady that is dark. That is not his spec. I said, no problem. Until he met so many yellow girls that broke his heart. He now found a girl who was she had his belief, she had the values, he even forgot that she was dark.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, they're happily married. In fact, she used to call best gift. I said, oh, black is your best gift. Because he had to deal with the mind of color, to the mind of values, and the mind of belief, and the mind of connectivity and connection. So this spec of thing, there's nothing wrong with spec. The problem is you, self, are you a spec? What spec are you? What is your spec? How did you define it? Where did it come from? Because let me also explain this. When you are, another thing is your relationship with God, because that's talking about specs. Because if you have quality relationship with God, sorry, I'm not religious, I'm a believer. I know what I'm saying. If you don't have a relationship with God, let me tell you the truth. Your spec will lead you astray, because if, for instance, you were confused, you were lost in, and then you found a relationship in your place of lost, by the time you now grow in your knowledge of Christ and you're already married, you'll be struggling with that relationship. You're struggling with that marriage, because you have now left from the place of lost to the place of purity and, you know, sanity. So at that point now, those things that interested you in your lost is no longer interesting again. What do? You start struggling with a marriage. So please be sane. Have quality relationship first. That helps you define spec. Please. Thank you very much.
Excellently said. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me go to the next one because of time. This person says, I've got admission for my master's abroad, but my fiancé says I should forfeit it since we're about to get married. I've pursued this admission for years, and I'm really excited about pursuing my career. But if I go ahead with it, it says I will lose this marriage. What should I do? So a lady has admission abroad, but the guy, the fiancé says, don't go because we want to marry. Forget about the admission. I've been pursuing this for a long time, and it matters to her. What should she do?
Man of God, if you're the one that has a father, what would you do? My daughter. See, there's nothing wrong with the man wanting to get married, but marriage is a system, not an event.
True.
So, sit down, conversation. Why do you want me not to go for this? What advantages would it give me if I don't go for it? What disadvantage would it give to me? Next, what is your system in place for my education? Because I like education. I like career. Please, don't ignore what you like just because you want to marry, except you understand how to navigate it after marriage. I am advising, because many people have said, marry, I will do masters. They have married and they are mistress now. They are no longer doing masters. Don't ignore it. Please, have the deliberate conversation. Okay, so why is he saying I should stop? What is his fear? Because some people do it from insecurity. Some people do it from the place of, oh, she'll be more educated than me. If she travels abroad, she will find another man, you know, and all of those things. Look, two of you should go to your accountability partner, go to your mentor, go to your mentee. If there's need for you to sign an agreement and say, okay, oh, this, please don't just rush out and say, I want to marry. Sometimes, you know, some men say, oh, I've done 7 relationships, it did not work. This final one, let me just leave school. And then say, some of these things have put people inside problem. Ask them. Except, truly speaking, you don't know how to communicate. And I tell people, relationships should give the opportunity to communicate anything and have disagreement so that you know how somebody responds before in marriage. You know, and sometimes waiting is a good skill. While waiting, you should learn. You know, so this person put all these things in perspective, create the conversation, sit down to ask. If the person is insecure, give the person some level of evidence, except you want to japa from the relationship. Tell the person will not force you into marriage, and then you lose your peace. Because I tell you the truth, if you marry and then after 2 years you do not go for that master's, and then you need it in your profession, the way you will be surprised that man that looks sweet has married your husband will just be detesting you. You will see and get angry because the memory of pain will always show up against the memory of pleasure.
That's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
And you live the rest of your life blaming that person.
Thank you.
I'm
good marriage. You know.
True.
Before you know it, you become secretive. Or secret, yes, I think. You start hiding things because you don't want him to know. You start making some decisions that are not partnership based. And you become a gossip. You start, looking down on him. And you don't know you're doing it. And it is causing spiritual breakage or, loopholes in your marriage. Sometimes you feel very hot. And those hot will not allow you build that submission as a husband and a wife. You understand what I'm saying? And when those things are not there, the marriage is breaking. Look, if you don't settle it in the beginning, two things are involved. Two things I used to tell people, don't be afraid of letting go when what you want to hold is strong for your future. Let me say it again. Don't be afraid of letting go when you want what you have to hold is is part of your purpose and future. Don't be afraid of letting go. Please, don't be afraid of letting go. Please, don't. Abba, don't now. Don't.
I'm taking note of these points.
Don't be afraid of letting go. When what you want to hold is part of your purpose, your vision, and your future.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You can add to it. Let me learn too.
So you see, that's why it's very key for people to have a sense of vision, a sense of assignment, a sense of calling, a sense of direction. Not if you have a sense of vision, and from your conversations through the relationship, you already saw that this will not allow me to further my purpose. You don't have to remain in that relationship and start contemplating marriage. Yeah, for me, that's enough reason to know that, hey, I need to move on from this thing because it will not serve my purpose.
Yeah.
And you see, this is another thing people need to know, that even when you get married, you still have your individual calling and assignment. All right. I've heard people say stuff like, I had so many dreams until I met the man of my dreams. So when you meet the man, all your dreams quench. Before you plan to do this and that, but because you are married, that everything has to go. And then when I hear that, I just ask you, how strong was your conviction in the first place?
Yeah.
So if you have a sense of direction for your life, you won't be in a hurry to fulfill your dreams. Like you said, those things that really matter to people. Just because the person you say wants to marry you, want to check them. So what I'll tell that person is, this is a clear sign that perhaps this person does not have a party in your future. All right. So don't feel like, if I tell this one now, when I start them, I'll also hear that again. End this relationship now. I don't have time to start building another one, start meeting people, all very stressful. Instead of starting afresh, let me just continue in this one. And before you know it, they get themselves regretted or married. Okay, so that's what I think.
Let me say this. The fear of a new beginning is the foundation for an old slavery.
Please say it again.
I don't want to interpret it. The fear of a new beginning is the foundation for an old slavery.
Hmm.
I don't want to interpret it.
Leave it like that.
Let me say another one. Your marriage should not replace your vision, because marriage is a supportive tool for vision. In fact, let me say this. What qualifies anybody for marriage is vision. So, permit me to say, don't give somebody part of your life that does not understand your vision and is not ready to commit as a supporter to your vision. Otherwise, you will self-sabotage your future, trying to enjoy a present that does not exist.
Wow. So
I'm
true.
saying, and it's very true. Too many people have died, but they are still awake. They are not themselves. In fact, if you see them, they are working corpse. They are going to church. But you see, every time you just know that something is missing. And the truth is this: they can't run away.
They are in.
So that decision you want to make now, my brother, every marriage comes with challenge. But don't create a challenge that you can avoid.
True.
Don't. Why? See, let me say this. I used to ask myself, why do I have to enter something that will kill me when I can avoid it and stay alive?
Exactly.
So you see, just like Coach has said, look, you have too many lives to live. Marriage is not all your life.
It's not all your life.
When you think marriage is all your life, that's where you even hastily get married and then lose your life. Please, guide your future. Is more important than the event of white gown and one suit that when after 20 years you look at it, it looks like garment of worship. Thank you.
You know, speaking of this, when I see the effort people put into wedding activities these days, one part of me is concerned. You know, really concerned. When I see how much they spend on concept, pre-wedding photo, you know, and all of that, I'm asking myself, how long did these guys spend in premarital training?
Yeah.
How much time and resources do they invest in premarital training? When I see them sharing all those good, beautiful pictures, I mean, what I'm saying to myself is, how much pretense is covered up in these pictures? Just because you want to look good and you know, have that Instagram worthy wedding. At the end of the day, every other person thinks these guys are so sweet, they are so beautiful, but you know deep down all the fears, all the regrets, all the issues, you know. So this was not a question, but it just came up with what you were saying. You know, I think people need to know that they should deliberately invest in learning about marriage long before they're even looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend. Long before, because this is where you're going to spend the rest of your life.
It's better to be alive. It's better to be alive and remain single than to marry and die. I say it to myself, you know, it's not that I want to share a lot of things, but see, a lot of people, just like he said, so many people are surprised I'm married because I didn't do more of the rishi. Everybody expected, oh, Coach Abibo, popular. Hey, he's going to do this pre-wedding picture everywhere. Oh God, I did not do it. I can't come and kill myself. I told myself, understand this, we are building future and family. We are building. There's a time that after 10 years now, we can decide to host Nigeria. And then Nigeria will come and eat and still say the food no sweet. Or they'll say they'll only give me 2 cups. So why do I have to kill myself? So I did not. And she had the understanding, and we worked on it. Finally, people saw that we were married. Now, the point is, after our wedding, nobody had come to our house to say, okay, oh, it's food, oh, okay, oh, see, Mona do this thing like this, oh. No, it is
Exactly.
we, and we have to invest, just like you said. We invested days and time. In fact, there were book reviews we were doing. The worst part was after our wedding, we were taking 2 courses, marital courses.
Amazing.
After wedding, almost wedded. We were taking 2 marital courses. We are doing another one for October. And people asking, why are you doing this thing? I say, look, the foundation of domestic marriage does not begin in spark. It begins in intentional learning.
Intentional learning.
Because this is what grows it and sustains it. There's something I also learned. The foundation be broken. They say, what would the righteous? He did not say, what would the sinner do? He said, what would the righteous? It means righteousness should help you have sense to build foundation.
True. True. Oh wow, that's so true. Righteousness should help you have sense to build the right foundation. Very good.
Yes.
Let me take the next question. I hope I'll be able to take one more before this person says, I'm dating a lady who works a good job and she's quite comfortable. She doesn't ask me for anything, and she even refuses favors from me. I think she's proud because she has more money and she's perhaps looking down on me. I really like her, but she behaves like I'm not on her level. How can I win her over?
My brother, that person that is asking that question, are you sure you don't have low self-esteem and poverty mentality? Sorry.
Please go ahead.
I think, why should a lady be richer than a man? Won't she be proud? It was poverty that made me think that way. It was the kind of things they told us that made me think that way. Some people you listen to, sorry to say it, they are poor. Their poverty had defined their principles, and that principles has enslaved their family. I can tell you the truth. If my wife is richer than me, with all due respect, I will support her. In fact, one of the prayer I'm praying, can I tell you this truth?
Go ahead.
The way I used to say it. You know who they call widow? A widow. I think I said it the last time, and I'll say it again. A widow is a woman whose husband is poor. And when the husband dies, she's poor. It is like rejecting your biggest daughter and you are dating. And you say, oh, because I want to marry you, please don't have your father's assets. Anything he has given to you, reject it. Straight away, let me marry you because of love. How should I become poor because of love? When Jesus had taken my poverty, he had taken my poverty so that I can be made rich. My brother, ask yourself, what do you even call pride? Sometimes it can make you feel like rich people are proud.
True.
Rich people have self-esteem. If a man has 10 cars, you say he's wicked because he did not give community money. It's not community that bought the car. So please think about it. See, let me tell you, one truth you have to tell yourself. It's very hard, but tell yourself a truth. Why am I chasing after poor girls? It's because I have fear for rich people. There was a time I had fear for rich girls. I felt like, and that fear was because I had low self-esteem. When I increased my confidence level, I started, in fact, there were girls I didn't want to date, but I just wanted to show myself. I'm confess, I wanted to show myself that I've been able to date. And some of them, I talked to them, before you know it, they want a relationship. And I say, calm down, I was just joking. They get angry, they call me wicked person. I just realized that the problem was, wealthy people are looking for sincere person and ready to marry. You're not going to get money, and she don't want your own. Excuse me, my brother. There's nothing wrong. Don't become what they call gold digger. Respect her authority. Find out what her values are. Find out some things. Don't conclude. If you've had conversation, know how she spends. Except you're telling me, oh, she does not respect you. If she does not collect your money, that's why you think she does not respect you. My brother, you have her account number, right? Throw the money inside her account and see how. Don't be throwing your money there and see how broke you soon become. You're not even happy that the babe is relaxed and not collecting your money. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Have to survive now. The other part is, except you very know clearly that she's insulting you with her money. And what's the definition of insult? Let me also say, as long as your lens is bad, my brother, everything you will see is bad. It's the lens. But if you be sure that you have the right lens first before you start saying that thing she's doing is black and not white, please be sure you have the right lens so that you will not conclude. And then the other part I will say is, love is it by force? You love her, she the first person you've ever loved. You have ability to love again. You have ability again. Please, if you say it's not comfortable, my brother, end the relationship. Go and look for a poor person to love. So that by the time you're with that person, you will see how big your struggle is. And God will supply all your need according to your sense. So please, think about it. You can reach a message so that you can have one big test with me. I beg you. You will just like you. My brother, continue.
Thank you. No, thank you. You actually you took it completely off my mouth. You know, all I was gonna say. How do you define this pride? You know, and the fact that you have said she's proud because she has more money than you, I think that is your own profiling. You have just profiled yourself in a particular category and profiled her in a category.
Can two work together?
What'd you say?
Can two work together except they agree?
Nope.
You've already created disagreement, so why are you even complaining?
So why are you complaining? And then, who told you that the best thing you bring to a lady's life is money and gifts? You know, I tell young men that, see, because a lot of guys are under this pressure to spend on the lady so that she will believe, she will agree, so that they go get level. You know, and then it's so bad for some that even when she's telling you, I don't want, they're not going to agree. In fact, they'll think it's because they're not spending enough, so they'll try to now increase the spending. But I think the truth is, young man, you need to know this. There's a lot more you bring to the table beyond your financial level. We're not saying you should not work hard, but the point is, a lady needs much more than the money in your wallet. She needs leadership. She needs vision. She needs your support. You need to be able to push her to become the best person God made her to become. And even becoming the best person God made her to be, it includes her bank account being bigger than what you're earning. There is no problem there. The two shall become one flesh. That's what the Bible says.
In fact,
so at the end of the day,
that young man, what's
success is your success. Go ahead.
That young man, what's wrong with you? Let me tell you. I tell young men, don't date a girl who cannot take care of herself. Number one. Number two, don't date a girl who cannot willfully spend for you. Don't. If you do that, you will hit a rock. You will marry you. But by the time you marry, a lady who is an asset will soon start thinking like a liability. Being true. Yes. So if it is your spending that makes the relationship work, my brother, you're running charity organization. No problem. Why are you trying to? See, let me frankly tell you, my wife, one of the reasons why I even chose her was because she was taking care of herself. Love gives. So because I love, I give. Because I love, I give.
That's it.
From me. Why should I be making her hair first? Is it a proof of my love? No. It was willfully. It's that she can make her hair. Oh, she can make her hair, but I want to just add. It does not make me a man. It's just expression of my love. So the person was not asking, I was saving some amount of money. Not because she lacks those money, but because my love was keeping it. And I looked for something that she would need, that she can afford, but she'll be happy that I afforded it. And by the time we got married, that was what I did.
Excellent.
And joy that showed up in her heart. And she was not expecting it. So my brother, please, when I see you, you need to buy me Ferrari before I even have your time. So that we know that you're really ready for a woman who is poor.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So no. You see, this further, explains the reason why people need to seek counsel.
True.
People need to seek counsel because there are people who are living with a lot of terrible, disempowering beliefs.
Yeah.
And it will determine, no matter how fantastic the person they marry is, they will reduce the person to their level of belief. And if the person refuses to come to that level, the marriage, because we're having it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I should just treat this very quickly, but I think we may have spoken to it through this other question. The last question was, how do you deal with an insecure guy? If the person you are in a relationship with as a lady is insecure, a lady is asking, how do you deal with an insecure person?
Why do you think he's insecure? What are the insecurities in him? Are you free to talk about it? Can you, in your relationship, can you say, babe, I've noticed this and that and that. Why is it like that? Can he give you history? Because it's I don't let people jump out when there's no conversation and you're not sure of something that has. You understand? Find that because there could be upbringing, environment, emotional experiences that had caused some level of those insecurities. And if you don't know those things, you will conclude that it's insecure. Some people's insecurity is their thought of defense.
True.
That's the way they think they are defending themselves. That's the way they think they are protecting you. Sometimes it's because of hurt. It's not because that's who they really are.
True.
So you need to also find that. Just like Coach has said, therapy, coaching, counseling, they are very important foundations. Look, I tell people, with all my getting, I got coaching.
Exactly.
With all my getting, I got mentors. With all my getting, I got teammates that were part. Okay, let me also say this to you. Let me say this before you get married. You need 3 people, but let me talk about 2 here. You need mentors and you need mates. Because some of these things that are happening, the insecurities and the rest of them, mentors can help you. Mates who have sense, who really understand vision, can also guide you to mentors or to coaches. Don't just go. Because if you just jump out, what if you meet 10 insecure people and you've not really found out why these people are insecure? Another thing is, what is your definition of insecurity? Because perception matters a lot.
True.
Yes, perception matters a lot. What's your definition of insecurity? Museum might think, for instance, an insecure person is one who always gives out his car to everybody. Me, I might think an insecure person is one who hoards his car, cannot even drive it. So it is when we start our conversation, when I say, oh, we are in this part, you're in this part. So what is our own? How do we now marry this thing together? That's what I am saying. So the deliberate conversation, dating period is work. Work your dating, because even marriage is work. Let me say it again.
Say it again.
If you don't learn the work of dating, asking questions in dating, creating connections, there's a book Abibo Berepele, before you start dating, what you need to learn. If you don't work this, my brother and sister, you would want to marry right and end up marrying wrong. Because it is not the wanting to or the desire that makes a difference. It is what is beyond the desire. You can desire to marry right and end up marrying wrong because your desire was not fueled by intentional questioning, communication or conversation, intentional, mentorship and training. So what is the difference? The difference is a change of person in desire, not getting the right thing. Because some people have jumped from one person to another and they felt like, I finally found the right person. No, you finally shifted your desire. This is now an upgraded desire rather than an upgraded you. So you have to develop you, not your desire. You understand? So this person has a red car and your desire is a green car, but all of them are mazes. So you now move from a red mazes to a green mazes. The problem is the color desire you had. But the question is, the green mazes, are you sure it's working? If it's working, are you sure that's what it takes to run through? These are questions. Ask those questions. So one skill I always advise people to have is have the skill of conversation, and questions should be part of the skill of conversation. Go ahead, sir.
You have nailed it. You have nailed it. Yeah. I don't have anything to add.
I think we still
nailed it. Yeah.
We can share more if there are questions or whatever.
Well, I would love to, but I mean, it's almost 1 hour. I like to keep this within.
It's fine.
Wow. Thank you so much, my brother. I mean, it's been a very refreshing time. Very refreshing.
Like, listening to is an inspiration. Let me also say, the way I am met is just like, is deep calling to deep. So you see, the truth is why we can talk like this. See, there's no pressure. Nobody has to go. It's because our belief. See, for me, I would say if it was marriage, we will disagree and agree because we are learning belief. Do you get that? We are not getting to explain something. So just like we're having conversation, we may not have talked for 1 month, 2 months. If I would not talk for 2 months plus, we had an alignment of understanding because of foundations that we have built.
That's right.
So even that conversation you're having before marriage, foundation is key. Build the values, intentional communication. Those things are the things that even sustain it. Even when the person is far, you're not afraid. Messiah is far from me. I'm not afraid of what he's going to teach. If he's teaching some things that I don't think it's correct, we can have a conversation without me argue. I say, he will give me his this thing. If it's something that, I've not learned up to that point, I will now improve. I say, fine. You understand? Sometimes you have to unlearn some ignorance that you think is your greatest wisdom. In fact, let me say, ignorance is a wisdom for those who are less ignorant and more ignorant than you. Let me say it again. Ignorance is a wisdom for those who are more ignorant than you, and you become their king of wisdom. Meanwhile, it's your ignorance that celebrate. I beg. Let me stop here before I ask something that I cannot end. Please forgive me. Forgive me.
Angela, please, if you have enjoyed yourself today, please feel free to just drop a comment there. Just help me thank my friend and brother, Abibo. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. God bless you. I pray more grace and more wisdom upon you.
Amen.
Amen. All right, we need to go now. Thank you so much. God bless you, and thank you everyone who's been a part of this. We hope you learned something. Feel free to join us again tomorrow on Telegram. We'll continue interacting. Okay, someone is just joining us now that we're about to leave. Okay, on Telegram tomorrow 9 p.m. Please join us, and let's take a few more questions. Let's interact some more. On the Telegram group, what we do is that we allow people speak. Here it's mostly one person presenting, except when I bring in someone. But on the Telegram group, we just open up the conversation and everyone participates. All right, please, if you have more questions, reach out. Drop us messages, drop us private messages in the DM, request for my WhatsApp number. You can get it, and drop messages. But don't die in silence when there's a lot of wisdom available that can be of benefit to you. So I'm signing out now. God bless you guys. See you.